So we are now sitting in one of the artworks that make up Vulnerable Creatures. That is a house actually by Soin, who are an architecture studio based in Bangkok in Thailand. Soin designed a house with temporary spaces for isolation and quarantine, but they could also be used for other purposes. And so it's a very interesting and very beautiful project that looks at the ways that contamination between the inside and outside can be mediated. We have a beautiful video artwork by Işıl Eğrikavuk, who is based in Berlin, that looks at the history of the avian flu in relation to histories of global migration. Pratchaya Phinthong, who is also an artist from Bangkok, is showing a set of artworks that look at the history and engage actually with the history of the sleeping sickness, which is a terrible sickness that is deeply related to the colonial history of Africa. In the same room, Michael Wang, who is an artist based in New York City, he's presenting a new commission, which is actually based on the history of the first virus to be observed by scientists, which was not a human virus, but it was a virus that was affecting plants, and in particular tulips. So Michael Wang, for this project, decided to present tulips that are infected with a virus, and the virus is completely innocuous to humans, and it creates a beautiful stripes of color in the tulips. The other room begins with a sculpture by Bonvicini, who is a very well-known artist based in Berlin, that makes fun in a certain way of the fragility of the kind of masculine, imaginary masculine ideal. Mm-hmm. And we have two artworks by P. Staff, who are based in Los Angeles, and they also look at the contamination of bodies and what happens when different bodies get together. And P. Staff doesn't shy away from what is dirty, what is freak, what is not considered acceptable in society.
And especially with bodily fluids and how some of them are completely evacuated from our everyday conversations, how some of them are seen as something even desirable or fun, like let's say sweaty men making any kind of sport, but then something like menstruation could be completely out of the question in the public discussion.
In the center of the Sala C, visitors will see a very big and powerful installation by C+arquitectas, who are Nerea Calvillo and Manuel Alba Montes, who have been studying the air itself and the way that with the pandemic, all of a sudden the air became almost dangerous. And of course, we all familiar with the concept of social distancing now. So what they do tries to make the social distances visible and try to show that the air is full of things. It's not empty, but it's actually full. Yeah, and Himali Soin is also presenting an existing work that's called Static Range, and it's about the nuclear toxicity that is present in a mountain in the Himalayas at the border between India and China, and has to do with a history of geopolitical interferences, the US trying to spy on China, and a mountain that is radioactive and is no longer accessible. But at the same time is very present in both the national imagination of the Indian state and in the rituals and everyday ways of thinking of the local population. And then we are showing a selection of artworks by the late Pepe Espaliú, who is a Spanish artist who passed away of AIDS in 1993. And is one of the most famous artists in Spain, especially because of his outstanding performative and sculptural work that deals precisely with the condition of being ill.
Pepe Espaliú and his work show how pandemics are not only something that it is happening out there, but it is something that is part of our everyday lives or of our context, and that we have to create also other forms of coexistence that acknowledge that we are dealing with bacteria, that we are living with virus, that we are living with pandemics, but the way that we are engaging precisely with them, it is actually a way of form other forms of coexistence, other ways of coexistence that could actually make a difference in the way that we could think about collective caring or collective healing.